Have you ever had a magazine failure? I did today at the range. Stick around and I'll show you how I remedied my problem. Well, at the range today I had a misfeed on my Smith & Wesson M&P 45. Of course, this particular firearm does use a double stack for the 45 rounds, ACPs. And after I ejected the magazine, I noticed what the problem was after I took the shells out. And as you can see, the follower in this magazine has not risen all the way to the top as it should. I could have either a bent spring, just a out of alignment spring. I'm not sure yet. I haven't opened this thing up. But these magazines are between $40 and $50 a piece, and if I can save me a buck or two, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to fix this magazine. Hopefully, like I said, it may just be a spring misalignment or something out of whack there. On the Smith & Wesson magazines, you have the base plate. Beneath is the locking plate. You have your spring assembly, and then the follower. Now, what we need to do is we need to remove this base plate, and by doing that, we need to disattach it from the locking plate underneath it. Now, I'm using a simple punch here. This little button right here, just push it down. It'll go down real easy. Push the base plate forward, pulling it off the magazine, holding your thumb down over the locking plate to keep the locking plate from flying all over the place. Gently remove the lock plate, set it aside, and we have our spring. And like I said, as you saw, the follower was kind of stuck down. It was not rising all the way to the top. So I'm trying to pull the spring out, and there is some resistance. There we go. So apparently the spring somehow got hooked onto something. And here we go. I have got now the spring assembly, and by the way, that's the way the spring is supposed to look. It's not bent. That's the way it's supposed to look, and there's my follower. So apparently something got stuck inside this magazine. As you can see, it doesn't look really dirty at all. But what I'm going to do, though, just for safety's sake and maintenance sake, I'm going to take this rag and I'm going to run it down through the magazine itself. I was about to clean my firearms anyway, and I figured, well, this might help. And I'll come back as soon as I get through cleaning this. Well, I ran a rag through here a couple of times just to clean it out. It really wasn't dirty inside. When I do clean my firearms, I do wipe down the magazines. I usually don't disassemble them, though. And occasionally you might find out that you have to. In this case, like I said, because we had a misfire. Now, assembling the magazine, getting it back into working order, is just the reverse process. On the Smith & Wesson, you have this little ridge right here. It's on the left-hand side, and it's going to be on the left-hand side of the rear. If you're looking at the rear of the double stack, in this case, double stack magazine, it will be on the left side here. You just simply push it back in here. If it goes in, if you feel some resistance or feel something hang, you know you've put it in wrong. So gently press down your spring and putting your base plate with a little locking nub on top. Push that down and kind of hold it in place with your fingers. And then sometimes it looks like it's actually, you got to watch what you're doing here, because as you can see, it's curved on one side and square on the other. I've missed that one, so you've got to put the square part against. Let me take this out again. As you can see, it's rounded here to a degree and square here. So let's put this back in. You want to put your square end to the back side here. I've missed this before when I've done this before. And you'll see it slides in real easy at that point. There's no resistance. You take your base plate, holding the lock plate down, slide the base plate over. Little button there will pop right into the place. and your magazine should be good to go. Now, what I'm going to do to test this is I'm going to be using 5 rounds. These are dummies. These are snap caps. I'm going to use them. They're great for dry fire. I'm going to go ahead and just load about 5 rounds. You can load, if you have more snap caps, you can load it to the max. Doesn't matter. But what I'm going to do, load these down, put this aside. Okay, got my 45. As you can see, it's safe. There's nothing in it. I'm going to take this magazine, put it in, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to pull the trigger. I'm just going to simply see if the rounds eject. I'm not sure how this is going to show up on cam. Okay, it's in the locked position. 5 rounds ejected. Slide is locked open. Now it looks like I have repaired my magazine. Saved me $40 to $50 in purchasing a new magazine. This is also proves why it's important to carry more than one magazine when you are carrying as your everyday carry, because it's not necessarily carrying an extra magazine for the extra ammunition. It's carrying an extra magazine just in case your primary magazine fails. This could have happened in a self-defense scenario where I had a misfeed, and if I didn't have a second magazine, then there might have been some problems. So that's how to fix the Smith & Wesson double stack 45 magazine there. Now the procedure is pretty much the same across the board with Glock, Sig Sawyers and all that. They may have just a little bit different procedure for taking the base plate off, but the basic concept of how to disassemble and reassemble the magazine is the same. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, just leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Check that little bell to make sure you get notified of future videos. If you can, check out my Patreon channel. And also remember our men and women in law enforcement, military. And until next time, be safe out there.